I want to go over a few things which is kedai to have in mind when it comes to people working together with women, especially officers. I'm trying to deal halacha. I don't want to go into a lot of emotions. There's a lot of people who gave out and there's a lot of things which is nachman. And these of things is always, whatever you're moisef, this inyonim is good. But I wanted to try to stick more to halacha or what the pois can write directly, was a urin halacha. Because this, at least, people will be able to relate to. Once you come things which is emotional, or that zihirason, which is always a good thing, people won't accept it. So basically,
is this a continuation of yichud?
No. Basically, most of the things is based on whatever is gestalt in Shulchan Aruch, the Poiskim, and Rav Wosner. Rav Wosner, Baal Shaivet Alayvi, in his Shuvas, he made guidance in Gebot. He built it up with such a shaykhs and taluchidige Sachen. And most of the things is negaya for which is based in is this. Now I want to say a very important thing. A lot of things is not negaya for us, which is the way how most of you deal in offices. But all of you will have children, daughters, which will go eventually work in offices. That's today's day. Once upon a time, every girl wanted to go to become a teacher. Now, everybody wants to work in an office or have a profession. It's very, very important to know these inyonim because I can tell you one thing, which I don't want to elaborate. But ich kann sagen, being, a Rav Moirerua in dealing with this kind of subjects for probably 18 years, a lot of divorces problems started with connections, innocent connections in offices. An innocent connection in office is a very dangerous thing, and therefore, my mind go nicht. And there's a story as in Shanghai, in the Mir Yeshiva in Shanghai, there is a bocher which fell through Mama Shafa, gewaldige Avayra. And in the middle of doing the Avayra, he passed away. So there was a hesped of the Mashgiach, the Mir Yeshiva the Mashgiach, and he said like this: a person had an asoyan, and he couldn't contain himself. Only Yosef Tzadik could contain himself. The problem, what he is going to give them the cheshm, is not the asoyan itself, which he fell through. It is the barriers which he took off, which he crossed the barriers, the gedorah which he crossed, that brought him to sin. So I always say these things. When we come and asoyan head on, it's almost impossible for most of us, Rebbe Killer, to contain. Even Yosef HaTzadik is do ein Manda Omar, which says, which again, we don't understand Yosef HaTzadik. Aber Akapuram, the Chazal tell us we should learn. When it comes head on, the barriers are the most important things. And therefore, when it comes to Yichud, it's a very important thing, because Yichud is Hagoyrem le Gili Arois, with the Rishonim Zugen. And the second thing is watching how we deal in offices. Because in offices is a very, very, very dangerous place, especially when you sit all day, which you sit all day together with women, and you have to interact, and you have to. It's a part of panos, without machen. But you have to know the barrier, what it is, how to go about. Now let me just make it clear. Tzvika asked on this, if we're going to ask about working at home, I can tell you, Rebbe Killer, 99% of people should not work at home. So that's case is closed. Don't work at home. It is not good for Yeshua Bayis. I said before, I said in the Bezdin for 12 or 13 years, which we only did in Ebenezer. So it's not healthy to work at home. Chitz,
No, COVID
mamash bothered like myself. And you. Okay. That was the Milster Badichas that lived there. That's okay. So now let's start. The first thing is that before a person, and again, I will most speak about when you send a daughter, because that's the more practical. You know, we are all older. We are married. Some kinder. The Abraham, if something to work at school. So when you send a daughter working in an office. Now again, some people, once the daughter goes working, you have no shlit on it. So basically it's over. But if you have some kind of a shlit, it's kedai, that you should verify her office before she goes working. Before an office go working, it is kedai to verify how the office, how it looks, how it was, how is the yachas between the balabos and the manager, the guy who has power over the people who work. It's very important. As we have to see how they interact, because sometimes the guy is a porat, or that he's, and therefore you have to see how it works. And today's day, there's a lot of offices in Muslimonsi, there's constantly advertisements looking for secretary, this, office only women. Office women, which the mamin is ucht lady. Men, which is, most of them are men. This is achshadura, but akapurim, it's not always shaykh, but akapurim, muss ich gedenken, die Sachen, in dem mat ashala, oder mat asufik, so man oder fragen, ruf, oder get out of here. The Paleo is schreibt, in Erech Haroyes, Vehina ben yunem eilische Kreibe, was the Amran, benushim zoynes, naikel hi lezur. Real, that's, benushim, it's not that hard to stay away. Aval adover kushe, lezur, bekroivoi sof. When it comes to kroivam, and sometimes people work with family members, so they feel more comfortable. So, dort is a big nesoyan. So again, we have to understand, as the poskim reden stark of this nekida, that you have to watch out of this of when it comes to the nurum of kraivel aroyes. And the Urach HaShulchan writes, klula shel dover. The klal is, Hasom oyer choysev v'magaloysev, lo yegush l'oilem. If you make barriers, lo yegush l'oilem. V'ashla yusim liboy, and somebody who doesn't, doesn't have, his eyes open to see, he shouldn't fall in, yipel b'shisa yayitzerara, ki chozek hima oid. And again, we have to face the Metzias, ein apotropos larais. Arois are the things which Rebbe Shaludam are moishich. And that's why the Shulchan Aruch starts as Simach of Aleph, Sif Aleph. Tzorech u'udam l'estrachim me'anush moed moed. Ve'eser likras things. Again, there are a lot of things which you think is Poshet Chasidus, Midas Chasidus. So das wissen sie Poshet Halucha. Sachen ist, man darf derech rein Poshet Simach of Aleph in Yevenezer. Poshet Sachen, we think it's nothing, it's Poshet Halucha, die Sachen. Zog dem Chaber. Ve'oser likrets beyudov oi baraglaf. Likrets, how do you translate the likrets? Wink. Yeah. That's the lirmus va'aynav. Wink with the eyes is the second. Huh? Motion. Yeah, exactly. Motion. The second thing is the mechaber. V'lirmus va'aynav. Even like you said with the eyes. Huh?
Likrot, matter in Hebrew is likrot with the eyes.
Oh, okay. But then in
what does likrot mean?
Likrot va'aynav means with the eyes.
No, with the...
Likrot v'yuda means, strong kish. Whatever it should be. Or whatever is on the shan.
To get attention.
To get attention, yeah. V'osel lischak imoy. So osel ischak, what does it mean, lischak? Zukt of dem, steigt of dem, in Medrsh steigt, what is it? Schoik bapeh. Lischak means schoik bapeh. What does it mean? Playing. Chaz v'shulam. No, it means poshet lischak bapeh. In the Medrsh bring through from Yikra Rabbah, the reason why the Mitzri made an avayra with Shlomis ben Divri is because when he came in the house, greeted her. Oops. So basically, we can't make jokes mit reden. Also, da loch ich genor, das machaber. Das nicht kann mit das Chasidus. Weiter, so der machaber weiter, wo usel hukel roische connecta, oi lahabet beyofio. It's also poshet to betrachten a lady and look at her and see how nice she is. Va fille lo raich be psumem she'aleyu, smelling of perfume, is osher. V'osel is tackling benushim hoimnes harakrisa, when they used to be on the river, washing laundry. V'osel is tackle bebig de tzevoinim shal isha shi makira. If you know a baguette which belongs to your sister-in-law, although she's not dressed with it, you cannot look at it. Osel is tackle bebig de tzevoinim shal isha shi makira. If you know her. If you don't know who it belongs, that's nishdu kanisem. But if you know it's a erve, or whatever, or aishazish, and you know the dress, machaber. Again, it's machaber. It's not Willensburg Firmigkeit. Afil eine malaya, even if she did not dress with it. Shem yuval haraba. V'amistakla afil be'etz beketana shenisha, even on the small finger of a lady, if you look, when it's chavel henes going her kavona to have a no, keila nistakla b'bayis atoyre, when the poskim zum zwei pshutim, it means keila b'skach b'mukum ha'erve. V'usel ishmoy kol erve, cannot listen to her singing. Oiliras psara, you cannot see, you're not allowed to see her hair. So means that when a lady goes out of her house, she has to cover her all the way, because Machaber Zuk, if he sees when she has opened saras. Also, this is the Lusha Machaber, sie beizem gebot fin der Rambam, it's the Lusha Rambam, and the poskim fragen glach, that since the Shitzes Rambam, we all know Shitzes Rambam is, lo sikri vi legalas erve is a isa doraisa. Any kraive lo aroyas is a isa doraisa, not isa drabonon. Mechlok is the Ramban in the Rambam. The Ramban halts a isa drabonon, and the Rambam halts isa doraisa. So automatically, any kraive lo aroyas isa doraisa is daf malken oisa lamates malkes. Habuzuk the Rambam malken oisa makes mardas. Du sie eine von der Shalas, wo es beizem the poskim fragen of the Rambam. In the poskim achalachilik, it's a difference when the Rambam says over here, as isid rabunan, he means just kritze she'einen yunechiba mamash. In kritze itself, there is two ways. There's two ways, as I mentioned before. Throwing a kish, that's kraive l'shamachiba, that's malkes deoraisa, that's isid deoraisa. Then there is all kind of motions which you write. It's not direct. The motion itself does not say, doesn't schreibt nicht raus in der Verchippe. Das is also mit Rabunen and Makis is Makis Madden. So even such a thing, zung the Mefarshe Haramam, in the Machaber to the Paskin, as it's also with Makis is Makis Madden, that means it's with Rabunen. Kemiven, when you are in office and you want to call out someone, a lady should come out because you want to talk something in business-wise, you don't want other people should hear that you take her out. Or when the manager, the lady walks into the office and the manager today, they did not have a breakfast exactly what he would like, and the wife did something not 100% what he would like, so he comes into office angry. So, and the coworker is maramas for the lady that today's day is, he's a bad, that does not mean kritza, and that's not an isser. Now let me make it clear. Kritza, which has to do something with the work, it got ishran they gave them. So if you want to transmit something to your coworker, and you don't want other people should see or hear, but it's a thing which has to do with work, even that now goes into the gather of usalikas. Kritza means a thing with hotchka shaykh can work, which is mehr a inyan from friendship. Dort is a isa der Rabunan, and ob es mehr wie friend, mehr a inyan von Chibbe, geht's ran a isa von der Reise. Der Bashmiel sucht, gleich auf dem Platz im Beginning of Simi Chuf Aleph. That's why the Machaber, Chazal say, Gezel varois nafshiru de Machamdasan. Therefore, Shechanurich steht, the word moid zurich lazur. You remember I started zurich hu de misrachim mush moid. Why does it say moid? I think I mentioned it by Yichid, because this is the things which is a gewaldige in the soin, and therefore the paskim zug moid, because you have to go all the way away, like ribas, which is very gross in the soin, because my money is not making money, so it's a gewaldige in the soin ribas. So, bei Riba seht man es, man seht es bei Scheuchet, because, what? By shoyche the marib is also the illusion of machaber is moed. You have to stay away moed. Because these are things which is very close to a person. In the balance weiß man, as the libische Rude machamdas and barois, therefore the machaber sucht the word as steht moed. Appositere sucht why the machaber says moed. Sucht we bald we know the Rambam and the Bartanina writes that all the middles has to be mitzvah, has to be middle ground. Yeah? As it steht. Not a big spender and not a big, carrier. It has to be, chitz von, gezeilt, sagt der Rambam, chitz von Gave, has to be all the way. Gave has to be, you have to go to the other side, tunish Gave. Sagt of them, the opposite, einer von der Poiskem, that's why we say moed over here, because this is like, it's like Gave. That you cannot be b'derech hamatzua. When it comes to this in union, you have to go till the other extreme, the other way, aber so eine Stücke mit sie kann Abayr. So again, die Sachen, was man gerät pusht im Chaber, das sind Sachen, was ist Aluch, was sind Shechanurig, and what we're going to go is, most of the Sachen was the post-Kemzum, nicht kann people's emotions. Now, all this enyunum, that you have to be in Israchig Marois, has to do, the wife, the lady has the same Isra as the man. So nicht, Kolas Yiddish Betoira, is the same thing, and that's why the Chinuch writes, but the Isra fin Shloilis Adam in Aroi, zog the Rambam, zog the Chinuch, van Hegel bechol mukim bechol zman, beschure ben nekayves. There's no heter, nekayves should be, easy and friendly with a man. Same Isra. But the apur gezachen is do, was the Sachen, was hat sie mit den Hirer, hat man mehr Michael gewesen bei nekayves. They could see men dancing. But other, being friendship, geht es daran selbe Isra, in Bazai is selbe Isra, makon is makes mardas.
Can you repeat the last halacha?
The what?
Can you just repeat the last halacha?
That even, it's not, sometimes the Isra is on me. I cannot see a lady dance. The lady could see me dancing. Yeah? Can't look on a lady could look at on a person. Yeah? They Sachen do achilek zwischen a man and a woman. But when it comes to all the inyunim of Srachkes Meraroyes, or being friends, the Isra is on the lady the same as on the man. So that means she cannot initiate friendship, the same as the male cannot initiate friendship. Fine. The first thing we have to know when it comes to work, that the first thing is, as we mentioned the last couple of weeks, Inyan HaYichid. Which the first thing is, Inyan HaYichid is Rachmeken Unkimet Isser Deraisa. Because if you're one-on-one, it's Isser Deraisa. Even if it's not one-on-one, it is still Isser Derabonan. So therefore you have to make sure, so Najana Oifav HaMatzav, that Stuam is Oiver of Isser Deraisa. Because the Eshe Zach, when a person goes into office working, has to think with how many people he's working. Is he alone? Is he working with one female, with two females, with three females? All the luchas you have to know, because sometimes they're going to leave, or they have a baby, or they're going to leave. You're going to stay with one less lady. All the Sachen darf man wissen, zusammen mucken, wie sie es dann open für die Araben. All these things.
Any difference between a Goya or if it's a Jewish?
Selbe ist mit tu sich schmiach mit kein Goyoch, so wie bei Aman. Same thing. All this attire which we spoke the last couple of weeks, that's something else. The Megman. Aber Thomas is a matzah for Yichid, is do a big problem. Ravos is noch mehr. Even if a matzah was an issue can Yichid mamash, because for instance, it is a matzah fin Pesach B'sich. They're sitting in an office together one-on-one, a man and a woman. So sits in an office 365 am Abdur Shem zu Shabbos und Yom Tov. Aber der Eitzem Missig, afil sie du der Hatayram, sucht der Azafal, ist schwer sich zu verlassen an Hatayram, because koim wird a lieber Gasbo. And second of all, automatically, sie wird a connection, sitting one-on-one, on a daily basis, is a Sazach, which, what?
2,000 hours a year.
2,000?
Hours a year.
2,000 hours a year. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Sometimes more than the wife.
Exactly. Yeah. And she comes dressed properly. She doesn't come dressed like the wife at home. And we have to remember, if the matzah is taking shukah problem for yichid, it happens to be that the lady had to go away. She has a chassan of a family, whatever she has to go, and it comes a matzah of yichid, then you have to say for the secretary, you could go home, or you leave. So the shukah heter, as es blaben dort. The ganze Zeit gewähne hätte, because he gewähne 3 Noschen, whatever, mit aller Teilen. But one, if it happens, one didn't come in and one has to leave early, so what are you doing now? Bist du Mann für ich? So if you don't have the heter of Pesach Pesach, or the Baal Be'ir, which when you have a girl, you don't have Baal Be'ir, then you have to just walk out, pick yourself up and walk out. And since you can heter, there wasn't so clear, so you can heter because you're going to lose a day of work, because since you can heter of Yichit, because you're going to lose work. If a lawyer says, you have to pay all the money. So it's like, at Choymesh, at Shlish, was comes to Mr. Says, gives a lawyer says, is a match to pay all this money.
But in Hilchos Yichud, you said by when there's 2 women and 1 man, it's still Yichud.
2 women and 1 man is still Yichud, that's right.
Yeah.
So, well, you have to deal with all the lots of Yichud, exactly. But if you have 3 women by day, yeah, according to Rashi, it's okay. We rely on it. And what is if one lady walks out because she has a chassan, she goes away from office, 3 o'clock afternoon, and you stay the next 3 hours.
In the office, the night would be probably the same as the day.
The what?
In the office, the night would be the same as the day or something.
Office the night? Why?
Because you said it's a massive. They're like being away.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but nobody go to sleep. No, the 3 is
In the office?
go to sleep.
Who's going to sleep?
Day and night.
So forget. You want to say that even at night will be the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Could be. It's a guy you do. But he can kid it's a guy because nobody works anyways at night.
That's not in the firehouse.
What?
Not in the firehouse. They do go to sleep there.
Okay. Nochmal, ich meine, das bin gerecht, aber es ist nicht der Geist in der Luche. Weil der Luche ist, that you have to have 3 women, and one lady goes away during the day for a doctor's appointment. You're stuck. So darf man noch wissen, as I fall, you have to pick yourself up, walk out, you're finished. Like a killer, when you make an office, you have men and women working, you should make separate offices. Separate offices, mamash. Where the men should have one office, the women should be in a separate office, shouldn't be working in one office.
If you're in charge, if you have the option to do it.
Maretig als, if you have the option to do, maretig als, wie ze wegzustellen office. What?
That's considered an office.
What do you mean, what consider?
Like
Yeah.
office.
Yeah, right, yeah. Now, today's day it's easier because lav dafke. Aber, noch mehr, ich rede nicht durch Schalaf in Yichid. Ich rede durch Schalaf in Kreive. So therefore, today's day is much easier because today's day is a very popular, even the Goyish offices, you have cubicles. Most of the time today's day is very popular, they have a cubicle. They do it for their own reason. Because usually when the 2 workers sit and they can each other, you start talking, start interacting, and it's for the chesh for the business. So they do it for their eigene Sachen, but if they do it for the business, we should do it, push it for Yiddishkeit. So therefore, a person, a Yiddish Babalaboz, sure, they should work, if they can have separate rooms, they should have cubicles, separate cubicles. And this is a Sache, was sehr wichtig. Sometimes you have to work together on computers. Yeah? Graphic designers, or you have to work on an Excel sheet together. So again, Baruch Hashem, today's day, macht's idu asach besser, but people haven't got to know it. You could make that whatever you see on your screen, she could see on her screen. Never should be one screen and the man and the woman sits by one table to look at one screen because that's a recipe for disaster. So again, it should be a thing people should be able to look. 2 screens is a Zayir Papa which I had when we wrote the Sefer together with my Chavrusa and Klula Tahara. So how did we write? So I was the typer, and we had 2 screens. So he looked whatever we wrote, and we interacted. So it's very easy. It's every computer has this option of such a thing.
Most of the time they want you to have 2 screens. Anyway.
Okay, schön. Okay, ich habe weitergeht. Nochmal, ich suche dich, Baruch Hashem, as a lot of things is the business that wants it for the business reasons. It's a geholfen Yiddische Kinder, but again, when I grew up, girls were very popular to work in offices. And so again, Rabunam, Kasharuf, hat nicht gelost a Frau go work in office. There was a kolkoiras of the Sagas Rabunam, don't let you do work in office. There was a lot of problems. How does Achshadura? Because, again, because it became popular and they wanted business, the Balabatam saw that it makes a lot of problems. Pashut Yiddishkeit problems and business problems. Because once you got today's day when you could, a lot of business today's day, they stopped, you shouldn't come in with the smartphones because, how many hours, I once saw an article, how many hours employees are spending on non-related business. Okay. Again, even when it's separate tables, we one should be against each other. Push it again. Als the kids is, you have to stay stay away from these things.
And if the husband's in town, does it make a difference?
No, because husband in town is good for work, for yichud. In Ochat, she has reshis to go and be miyachid with him. It's not that portion, even when husband is in town, when it comes on a daily basis with those, because he has, if you remember one of the things we said, if the husband knows that she is there and gives him permission, so therefore it's not that easy. But again, I'm not talking now in Hilchas Yichud. I'm talking now in Hilchas Kraivel Arois. Hilchas Yichud, the Simon Chuf Beis in Ebenezer. We are talking Simon Chuf Aleph, a Simon which is before Yichud. That's a halacha. Halacha Shechanorach, Machaber Shechanorach, Oser Lishl B'Shloim Isha. It's not allowed to say Shalom Aleichem. You have a worker which had a baby. After 6 months, after 6 weeks. How much is maternity leave? After 6 weeks, comes back and Shalom Aleichem. Usa Shechanurach. Oser Lishl B'Shloim Isha. Now, what? But we'll get a minute. Usa Lishl B'Shloim Isha. Go on, you're not allowed to say Shalom Aleichem. I wrote a whole article. It was published on this rule. I had a shalna from a tzigikim and a granddaughter. That means that a granddaughter, which is not a blood granddaughter. That means a grandson's wife. And the grandfather came to her house, and she said, Shalom Aleichem. For a grandfather, normal thing. And her husband, das wissen wir tun nicht. So she asked me, called me up, what do we do? So ich habe schon mal ganz ariches, that in a fall, was is a Seide in Baba, vieles ist nicht Blut, in gefährlich, in such a case, because it's not a nemesis, Seide Baba, you don't say Shalom Aleichem, it doesn't make sense. So habe ich dort a ganz ariches, which again, it's like Metzir Vasach, you can see it one of the Aris rules, I don't remember when, but what I mean to say, it's bechal nicht poshet. It's suchen the word Shalom. Yes, if you don't say Shalom Aleichem, first it makes it much easier. Saying good morning is nicht kein Isser. Saying Mazel Tov, suchen the past conclude, the Bachu Shuru brings in Edel HaKodesh. If your coworker had a baby, say Mazel Tov, nicht kein problem. But saying Shalom Aleichem, this is a Sache, man darf gedenken. Ich habe mit Zara gewinnt, as today's day, we don't say mit Hashem, as we're going to see Baris. All tzarifim, because again, she tells me, what shall I do? My grandmother and grandfather comes in, I shouldn't say Shalom Aleichem. So, aber gemisst sie kwetsch. Aber kapunem, da wissen da you cannot say, for a sister-in-law, Shalom Aleichem. Kapunem, the word Shalom Aleichem. But, what? Oh, what do you mean Shalom Aleichem? If you say, how are you? Hi is etwas anders. Or, welcome back. Okay, das ist der schöne Weg in Shalom Aleichem. But, du hast dich schon ein Problem. Du sagst asking a Frau, how are you, hast a problem. How is the family, even though you mean her, but how is the family, or how is everybody, is okay. But when you're asking direct, how are you, is a person. And that's why the poskim write, in English it's not nagai, you could say for her you. In Yiddish, you don't say di for a female. There's no such thing, you're not going to see a Chassidish Yid to say for a lady, di. If he says di, usually you have to zurich bedik achraf. It's too close. You say, was mach ir. I remember always my father had girls working with her. Always say ir. What? It takes a distance. Di is already so interessant gesehen the Chroim Sham as an English and English so in English is much easier. So we have it easier because you say how are you? It's not do the problem al Shloim Isha, how are you is a problem. But saying, interacting and working, and saying did you do that? Then hast du kein problem. Aber Akapurim, fragen direct, and not asking, clueless die Sachen, geht daran ein Problem für Shalom B'Shloim Isha. What? Noch einmal? No. Wieso sucht man? Siehst du andere? No. How do you say, if you want to say for an older person, which you want to be Mechabed? Is there a way how to say? Huh? Atem?
General.
Atem, general. Kein sein, dass in der Fritte zu haben, das ist the problem.
Really?
Kein sein.
I will say it in Hebrew. צריך לדבר בגוף שלישי, we need to talk.
Dus is was the state. A third party, yeah.
I mean, the question is also like, that's employee to employee. So the employer, they have to show a yachas to the workers to show that they're mekasher. Like,
Chashu,
you know what I'm saying? When you walk in and you don't say anything like...
No, you can say good morning. I
No,
said.
the standard thing is at the beginning of the weekend, at the end of the week, you say, how was your weekend? That's like a stand, like, there's certain like good morning. It's like a good morning type of thing.
Ich habe gehad.
I know, but I'm saying if you don't say that, it's actually...
It's offensive. Okay.
I'm saying, yeah.
But if you could generalize it, if you could generalize, ich habe gehad, de shala, I felt, one of the things which the poskim write is, ich denke, eine Sache, was sie gewähnt, was ich gehalten, as today's day is, how are you? Yeah, the poskim is unclear, you cannot say how are you. Das gibt alle Schale Schlemmische. I personally had a bigger slap in them, because when you say how are you, it doesn't mean anything. It means everything. What I said, hello, how are you? If you listen, you know what they say, what is a nudnik? What is a nudnik? Yeah, he asks you, how are you? You start telling him. You know? So I felt, ich habe es immer gesagt, du, aber I feel, as saying how are you, it could be, well, as always, it doesn't mean anything. It says, hello, how are you? This is, I like to say, on the street, everybody, how are you? Good morning, how are you? Good morning. So, kenz an azach. Aber tomatakis is something which is a personal, for instance, asking, who came for your in-laws for Shabbos? Personal Sachen, bechal, I'm about saying, wegen Reden, Sachen, was mit work. Oder, what did you get, a kala? What did you get from Achteniste for Purim? The halbsten zu reden, personal Sachen, is, dem in Sachen, is a problem. Because again, when bald saying, as the apostle was included, that you talk with when it comes to working in Yonam, working related things, you talk with whatever you need. But whenever you don't need, everything that has nothing to do is off limits, basically. Off limits. In the Paskin bringen a sea, like in a sea, the Gemara says that Rabbi Yossi Haglili went on the way, and he came to a crossroad, and he didn't know to go right or go to the left. Where he wanted to go to Lut. So Pink Berurya, Aisha Sermayer went through, and he asked her, where is the way to go to Lut? So Berurya said, Glili shoyte kamoichu. You don't know what's going is a Fersh Misha, Altar Basicha Mishka. Well, why are you asking, where do you go to Lud? You have to say, Lud, to Lud. How do I go to Lud? Huh? Be'eze Lud. Zoeken the Paskin for do oversee, even a thing which you have to ask. It's a normal thing to ask. But you don't have to extra words. Geit es ran in the Geder for Altar Basicha Mishka. Also we cannot be extreme. But you understand, we have to, again, we shouldn't be extreme. As you say, things which is not mukubal, that's why I said, to say Shalom Aleichem, but you understand, realize, as you're playing the Sachen, which is haluchadige Sachen, and whatever memiz is ein Sachen, whatever, you don't need, we should remember.
His wife is sick. And he
Yeah.
asked his husband how she's doing.
Das meint nicht, steht tun, aber Charlie alle dai Baal, das steht tun, sich nur, alle dai Baal megen.
If employees come in and they cry, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, it becomes shunt, and you become kind of a consultant. You want to...
No, hast du geredet? No, stay away.
That's
No, I'm so sorry for you. I'm not a therapist. You have to go to therapy. I'm not a therapist. Mr. therapist. What can you do?
Or send him a bill.
Believe me, they Sachen, most of the problems, I'm going to tell you one thing, most of the problems which started in offices, the connection started when she or he had a problem and you try to help. Because once you start to help, you start feeling for the pain, taka, and you get connected, you get emotionally connected. Most of the problem starts with this thing. Believe me. Ich weiß, was ich rede.
When she had an issue and now you're answering, that's a bigger thing.
You see, you understand. My husband don't understand me. You understand me. Automatisch, why shouldn't you understand this? It's because it's nicht da leben, sie leben, So automatically, again, you're playing with fire. Und ich sage noch mal, ich bin sitzen 12 Uhr of a bezdin which dealt only with evanes and gitten gedoyma. Most of the issues problems as ungoing with narische stupid Sachen, giving bringing chocolate, whatever, Kleinigkeiten, and it evolved bis der ärgste Sachen. So again, ich suche doch mal, ich suche da Luchas, jetzt soll jeder einer verstehen, was zu tun. Another thing. The what? Yes. Yeah, there's a difference. Yeah. Also wir hatten gesucht. With your grandmothers, your Schleiß. The Poskim Zugan, in the society, a wichtige Sache, never call a co-worker by the first name. First name is a very personal thing. Very personal thing. And therefore, the bonus of a tas bringt a Reihe von a Marschall, as Marschall sagt, that when you ask the wife, how is your husband or whatever, sagt dort, man soll schon warnen beschmoi, because the first name is a very, very, brings a kirva. And ich kann eigentlich sagen, ich denke immer waxen again. My father had an office, always was Miss Silver, Miss Lefkowitz, Miss, and this is alle chassidische Plätze, no first name. It's Miss or the Mrs. Lefkowitz, Mrs. Silver, Mrs. No first name. What? Geen nicht.
Let's say miss something and it's a first name. Miss first name.
Again, the Pasuk will say like the Miss Mar geweret, aber I feel nicht if you can't do first name. Now, ich gehe der Schale, ich habe schon gegeben, a couple of times, Schluchen, andere Plätze, and people ask me, how do you do it? Because today's day, the businesser want it should be first name. That's part of those.
I don't know the last names of most of them.
You don't know. So I had Chassidische Inglat, which came to me, and asked me, my daughter is working in an office, how do I go about it? Habe ich gesucht als Sach, and I would say, it's probably, I have hundreds of people who implemented it. I says, always take a business name. Take a name which you adapt when you write in. Your name is Esther. You take a first name. Vice is popular taking.
What company do that?
Like exactly. Oh, my father had bechala shitta. Even the men, the people, anyone who comes in the working office cannot use his real name, first name. No such a thing. The goyim, the tenant does not know your name is Yank Lefkowitz. You look up at night where he lives, they call you. There's no such a thing. Jeder hat a George, and Alamina goyish name, and usually it starts with the same word as you. If your name is Gdali, it should be George. If your name is Rochel, it should be.
He told me Moshe, but in the guy he told Michael.
So again, it is kedai that it should be not a first name, because I'm telling you, a first name basis is brengt of a kirva.
I'm going to push back a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a term for shaking hands.
No.
Not a shaking up. There are a term that's saying that there's no kirva.
We go get to that. Moshe Feinstein was all about it, throws it on a Moshe shops. We do it.
I understand that. Let's say that there is no kirva with shaking hands. Not that I shake hands. I'm saying. In the workplace nowadays, it's so common. The first name, there's no, especially. I mean, I'm talking from my own personal.
Then it's Goites or Yiddish
As a boss, you have to show that you care about your employees. If you don't call them by the first name, they're like you don't even know who I am.
Here.
You have to say, hi,
now,
hi you.
I feel as the Raf given a Goite.
What?
A Goite is one thing. And a Yiddish Meidel comes to the office. And when she comes into the office, tell me, we want to pick a name, and this we're going to call you by that.
I want to add to I don't know, like the comment, like what the doctor said about the hospital. So when you work like in corporate or like big companies, there are very, very strict rules about kirva, which didn't exist 20 years ago. Small office with a few English people, it's very different. In a corporate environment, if you start getting too friendly with people, you're going to get a slap on the wrist. Okay. Yeah, but when I know office parties is when they're actually strict about it. No. Nowadays, yes, big corporations.
Could be. So again, speaker, if it is like that, we can adjust it. But when it comes to Yiddish officers, we have to be very vigilant. Because as I say,
you can say
Yiddish officers when they're
a maid in a Chabad house. For sure, I don't know her last name. Maybe her name.
But give her a name and call her by that name. That should be the name. And again, there's a lot of offices which the first thing today they do, and you see it's interesting to see because a lot of officers, the man should be first name. And I was once dealing with a life insurance company. And I knew, whenever I asked, I knew to ask this name because she was my case manager. And one time she tells me, you know who I am? I says, I have no idea. Oh, I just wanted to know, I'm your cousin. My name is, that's Oberlander. So you have a different name. And yeah, I think that's what they gave us, name. And she was a close cousin, So, Baruch Oberlander's niece. So I mean to say, so why? Because the company is almost ungemein zu viel. I remember, when I began in England, there was
first and last name is
no, your last name is not a problem, but Lamas, she had or could be a maiden name, but the first name was a different name, which I got echt name.
business card. What name they have?
Okay, that's okay. No, if in business is the new name, that's the name. That's the name which people have. That's the name which people have. Again, hand is also because of these things. You gotta, now, when it comes to Goitis, you're right. It comes to Goitis with Goim, it's a little bit different. Because over there, you can't finish hand is name, you can keep it all Sachen, was is not necessarily you should adopt everything, but at least you should understand the problems, the issues, and adjust it according to this.
This thing about not calling my name, is that in the workplace or Bechlal?
No, this Bechlal. The Bechlal. The first name basis is Zayara. Even a fremde Frau, the first name is ich denke, I never forget, sie kimmen at Sruldige Bucher, a Shababnik, he was working in a grocery in Williamsburg. It wasn't the time when she came at Tifel, it's Sruldige working over here. And I remember he was working a while, and then, he once called one of the ladies, you got a friend, you got the name, and he called it on the first name. 15 minutes later, he was out of the job.
It happens the other way.
They will burn the store. But no.
It happens the other way. I remember I was working once in a small office, so I made sure to call the ladies, Mr. and Mrs. Until one of them, she was actually an older lady, said, "No, call me Malika." I'm like, "No, it doesn't work that way." Because they don't know. A lot of them get offended when you.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
Once you could, I have a lot of times a worker starts asking, because my wife writes on the news, she writes Sarah, yeah? So they start calling me Sarah. My name is Mrs. Oberlander. Once you said it once, again, why is that? It's again, all these things is just to realize the problem which happens. The problem which happens.